Good morning to everyone. My name is Joel Ocasio-Marcano. I'm Procurement Official of the Procurement Division of the CDBG-DR program. On behalf of Melissa Modovar Suarez, Interim Procurement Director, we welcome all interested persons to this pre-proposal meeting. This pre-proposal is taking place for the CDBG-DR-RFP-2022-04, request for proposal for Federal Labor Standard System and services under the Federal Compliance Program and Subrecipient Management. I would like to introduce our team from PRDOH. Along with me is Camille Garcia Villafañe, Procurement Specialist, Kerelia Ayala Baez, Technical Specialist, and Maria del Carmen Figueroa Correa, Director of Federal Compliance and Subrecipient Management from the PRDOH. Any questions submitted in this meeting will be answered in writing and will be published in an addendum. Any information provided in this meeting does not change the terms and conditions established in the request for proposals instructions. All procurement processes shall be conducted in accordance with the terms and conditions established in the procurement manual and in the contractual requirements to guarantee full and open competition of fair treatment of all persons or entities involved in each procurement process. The procurement manual is available at our website, cdbg-dr.pr.gov, and is incorporated by reference and made it integral part of this RFP. Nothing said in the previous meeting will change any of the terms of the RFP except the written amendment to the solicitation issued through an addendum. Now I'm going to leave you with Maria del Carmen Figueroa, who is going to explain you the scope of services of the RFP.
Thank you, Joel. Please, if you can help me with the presentation, that would be great. Thank you for joining us today. The following presentation will provide an overview of labor standards and highlight a few key areas from the scope of work. Next. Federal Compliance Unit provides policy implementation, tools, training, and technical assistance as part of the oversight for direct contractors and subrecipient entities administering construction projects authorized under CDBG-DR and CDBG-MEET funding. The action plan for CDBG-DR and action plan for CDBG-MEET listed on the PRDOH website currently identify a listing of programs which will allow eligible activities for construction. We use the definition found in 29 CFR 5 to identify what is a construction project. Next. Before that, thank you. The projects associated with the labor compliance monitoring services will include, but are not limited to, multiple small and large infrastructure construction projects. The specific number of projects and or contracts that may require these monitoring services is not known and will vary from year to year. The projects range in size and complexity. A construction project is defined in 29 CFR 5 by the DOL. Each project has a clear start date and end date, resulting in contract closeout. For more information on program structure, refer to the exhibits and PRDOH program webpage of public information. Firms must be familiar with and have experience with all the necessary and required forms for labor compliance reporting and monitoring for public capital improvement projects. Next. The above graphic provides a brief overview of the current NEET programs within the latest action plan. These are also subject to future changes. Next. The above graphic provides an overview of some of the key steps of how construction projects come to be. Next. FERA compliance labor standards includes various areas which are intended to be covered by the SAS systems, as Davis-Bacon and related acts, Davis-Bacon Act, Housing and Community Development, the 29 CFR 5, the Fair Labor Standard Act of 1938, the Contract Work Hours and Safety Standard Act, and the Copeland Anti-Kickback Act, then 1934, Section 3 and Mwbe. Next. The above graphic provides a brief overview of some of the key steps of Davis-Bacon and related acts implementation in construction projects, specifically for the on-site interviews, certified payroll reviews, notifications to contractors, reporting and record keeping, as well as closeout phase, are intended to be impacted by the SAS system. Next. FERA Compliance Unit has developed a robust program including training models and suite of forms, hot reports, procedures, tools, and notifications to drive Davis-Bacon and related acts compliant implementation for directly managed construction projects and subrecipient-led construction projects. The Davis-Bacon and related acts policy guide that establish the roles and responsibilities for direct contractors, subrecipients, and contractors of subrecipients. Additionally, the MWBE policy guide and Section 3 policy guide available on the PRDOH website describes the compliance roles and responsibilities for implementing entities in those compliance areas. Successful firms must have extensive experience monitoring and reporting prevailing wages, certified payrolls, on-site monitoring, investigations, payroll audits, labor laws, labor unions, apprentice programs requirements, integration of forms, reports, notifications, custom reports, and other requirements to ensure implementation of agency workflows and FERA requirements for Davis-Bacon related acts. The system and services must be in Spanish, Puerto Rican Spanish, proficiency. Next. Most construction projects funded with CDBG-DR and CDBG-MEET funds must comply with Davis-Bacon and related acts requirements to ensure that laborers and mechanics are paid prevailing wages, including overtime wages, for the work performed on CDBG-DR funded projects. PRDOH subrecipients, project owners, and responsible for ensuring implementation of DEBRA with their contractors. Contractors awarded contracts funded with CDBG-DR and CDBG-MEET funds are responsible for complying with DEBRA requirements. Next. Davis-Bacon Act, Chapter 3, Section 27, 6A and 227, 6A5 requires payment of prevailing wages and determined by DOL, provides a fair opportunity to complete in-building programs funded by the federal government, and prevents contractors from bidding below an area's prevailing wages. Generally applies to federally funded or assisted project value more than $2,000 and contracts for the following types of work on public buildings or public works: construction, alteration and or repair, painting and decorating. Contract work, next one. Contract Work Hours and Safety Standard Act, as a quasi, workers shall not work more than 40 hours a week unless they are compensated overtime Projects must comply with safety standards. Payroll submissions will identify time spent on projects. Overtime must be flagged, and system ensure that follow-up and corrective actions can be implemented by project owners, prime contractors, and PRDOH GM staff. In the other hand, the Copeland Anti-Kickback Act requires payment of wages at least once a week. Only permissible payroll deductions are allowed. Missing payments to employee staff must be flagged, and non-permissible deductions must be flagged, and system ensure that follow-up and corrective actions can be implemented by project owners, prime contractors, and PRDOH or GM staff. Next one. Fair Labor Standards Act, or FLSA, sets the federal minimum wage and additional overtime requirements. Underpayments and overpayments must be flagged, and system ensure that follow-up and corrective actions can be implemented by project owners, prime contractors, and PRDOH or GM staff. The Section 3 workers and Section 3 targeted workers. Hours worked by individuals identified as Section 3 workers or targeted Section 3 workers are a key component of federal labor standards tracking and reporting responsibilities. The system should be able to identify these workers and enable tracking and reporting of these hours within payroll submissions. And MWBE businesses that contractor or subcontractors who have been identified as MWBE should be able to identify an overall activity track along with payroll submissions. Next. Proposers should understand the definition for a construction project that is established on the 29 CFR 5. Next. This definition encompasses descriptions that include the transportation between the site of work. Proponents must be knowledgeable in this compliance concept in order to be able to effectively provide customer support and be able to triage, elevate inquiries, and know how to work with the Department of Housing. Next one. Executive orders in place include that impacting in Puerto Rico include the 2017, 2018, 2020, 2021, and most recently Executive Order 2022-14, just February 24, and the system providers must ensure their system are able to program these dates as validation and QA/QC checkpoints when contractors and subcontractors enter their contract begin dates to ensure contract will comply with the established project prevailing wage rates in Puerto Rico. Next one. We will now discuss briefly the scope of work. Successful firms must have extensive experience monitoring and reporting prevailing wages, certified payrolls, on-site monitoring, investigations, payroll audits, labor laws, labor unions, apprentice programs requirement, integration of forms, reports, notification, custom reports, and other requirements to ensure implementation of agency workflows and federal requirements for DEBRA. The system should provide robust reporting and administrative capabilities to support compliance function online. The system shall allow PRDOH staff the ability to monitor projects for labor compliance and for workforce reporting, including the ability to enter data via the internet and organize, monitor, and pull project data to generate reports via internet in real time inputting and reporting. Proposers shall also provide a transition plan to move all relevant data from existing hard copy data and information systems currently gathering data and should be capable of interfacing with contractors' various payroll reporting software. There shall be no cost associated with using this system for the external users. Additionally, next one. Additionally, you will notice that in this scope of work, that there is a focus on ensuring that the proposer will have the staff that meets the need to provide system and customer service solutions. Proposer must have experience working with training contractors and project owners on the use of the system, and these solutions be offered on multiple formats: live, virtual, and self-learning materials. They should also be able to offer tech support. It is emphasized that these services, as well as the platform, be able in Spanish using Puerto Rican dialect, and during construction businesses hour in Puerto Rico, as the service will be provided here to Spanish-speaking locals, project owners, and contractors. The SaaS platform must integrate data from current PRDOH systems and be compatible with contractors' existing payroll structures. Next one. The scope of work is divided into tasks with subtasks and specific items that the system should address. Task 1, for example, provision of services for DEBRA compliance. Task 2, service deliverables. Task 3, system implementation. Next one. Sure, they're the same. Task 4, testing, system testing. Task 5, training and customer support. Task 6, allowance task. And task 7, anticipated staff and organizational chart. That will be all for now for the scope of work. Thank you, Joel. Back to you.
Hi, everyone. The documents for this RFP are available for download at our CDBG-DR website. That is cdbg-DR.gov/app/cdbg-DR-public/auction and /see more. The important dates for this RFP was, we have it there, the public notice that was issued in February 24, 2022. The documents availability to start was from February 24 to 2022. The request for the invitation for this pre-proposal was until today. The pre-proposal conference that we are having right now. The submission for questions and requests for clarifications are until March 8, 2022 until 4 p.m. The responses to those questions and requests for clarifications will be answered on or before March 11, 2022. And the proposals due date that are electronically submitted will be from March 30, 2022, from 9 a.m. until April 4, 2022 at 4:30 p.m. This RFP provides for liquidated damages as related to established timeframes to performance. The PRDOH and the proposer will agree on the timetable for the deliverable of each task. For this RFP, the PRDOH established as liquidated damages $100 for each calendar day that a deliverable required is late until deemed in compliance, subject to a maximum of $1,000. Each prospective proposal shall submit all questions in writing on before March 8, 2022 at 4 p.m. to a CDBG-DR mailing address that you have it here. Responses to all proposers' questions will be answered by addenda and will be posted on our CDBG-DR website. All procurement documents pertaining to a procurement process, including the addenda issued by the PRDOH, are and will be available for download at our website. All prospective proposers must monitor our website to retrieve the addenda, if any, issued for this procurement process.
Thank you, Camille. We continue on with the proposal electronic submission. Proposals are to be submitted on the proposal due date stated in section 4.3 of this RFP. Responses to the RFP submitted after the prescribed deadline will not be allowed. Submissions of responses to the RFP will only be accepted by electronic means. Proposers are advised that the PRDOH will neither require nor accept physical proposal submissions. If proposals are submitted in both electronic and in paper format, the PRDOH will only consider the electronic format for evaluation. The proposer will receive access to submit the electronic proposals after the registration process is completed through the CDBG-DR website. At the scheduled due date for electronic proposal submission, a link button will be enabled to provide access to the registration form. Complete all the required fields in the form. Proposals must be submitted within the closing date and time for proposals as established in section 4.3 of this RFP. Prior to the electronic proposal submission on the CDBG-DR website, proposers must take into consideration the following. Check your internet connection before starting to upload the electronic proposal documents. As the due date times draw near, heavy traffic on the web server may cause delays. Plan ahead and leave ample time to prepare and submit your proposals. Proposers bear the risk of website inaccessibility due to heavy usage in the final hours before the RFP closing time. The proposer must submit the mandatory requirements, qualification and work approach, and the cost proposal requirements in the Identify section at the website. The documents must be submitted in PDF format. It could be submitted in multiple PDFs, may be merged into one single document. Also, multiple files may be uploaded in a zip file. The maximum upload size for each document or compressed file is 500 megabytes. The proposer is solely responsible for on-time submission of your electronic proposal. The PRDOH will only consider electronic proposals that have been transmitted successfully within the RFP requested format. During document upload process, the proposal will be able to click on the documents and have a preview of the uploaded document. Incomplete electronic proposals with errors or viruses or corrupted files are found after the upload will not be accepted. During submission period, proposers experiencing any technical difficulties may contact the PRDOH at cdbgdr/procurement vivienda.pr.gov. If CDBG-DR website fails during the submission period, on or before the scheduled timeline deadline, the PRDOH will provide instructions via addendum to the proposers. Okay, we'll discuss now the technical requirements for this RFP. Mandatory requirements will be scored as either pass or fail. Failure to comply with all the mandatory requirements of this RFP will result in the disqualification of the proposer. Mandatory requirements includes, among others, financial requirements. Audited, reviewed, or compiled financial statement for the most recent 2 years issued by a certified public accountant and prepared in accordance with U.S. generally accepted accounting principles. The financial statements must include a balance sheet, statement of operations, statement of cash flow, and notes to the financial statement. In addition, it must be included the most recent interim year-to-date financial statement for a period ending not later than 90 days before the proposal submission date. The interim financial statement must include at least a balance sheet and statement of operations. It must include also a line of credit or cash availability, a third-party certification from a bank or financial institution dated within the 60 days before the proposal submission date, stating experience, account balances, availability of line of credit with their terms and conditions, and/or a confirmation from a bank or financial institution indicating their willingness to provide such a line of credit for the required amount if the contract is granted to the proposer. The certification and/or confirmation should be provided in the bank or financial institution's letterhead, including its address, email, and phone number. The amount required of the encumbered line of credit, available cash balances, or a combination thereof is a minimum of $164,000, pending litigation and non-bankruptcy sworn statements. The information submitted will permit a pass or fail grading following a scoring process by the PRDOH. A total grading of 70% or more is required to obtain a rating of pass. All documents authorized by a notary public outside of the Puerto Rico jurisdiction should be authenticated and include an official certificate or apostille from the Secretary of State, county clerk, or corresponding entity of the state government. Now let's talk about the proposal evaluation. Following the submittal of proposal, the evaluation committee will meet to evaluate each proposal based on the criteria stated in this RFP. Initial evaluation will consider the mandatory requirements of the proposal stated in section 6.1 of the RFP, and those proposers whose proposals meet the mandatory requirements will be evaluated by the evaluation committee for qualification and work approach requirements. A score to each evaluation criteria will be assigned by the evaluation committee. To be considered qualified proposers, proposers need to obtain a score greater than or equal to 70 points in the evaluation of their qualifications and work approach. After completing this stage of the evaluation process, the evaluation committee will determine if it is necessary to invite the proposer to provide an oral presentation as mentioned in section 9.3 of this RFP. In the instances that an oral presentation is not required and/or after the oral presentation are completed, the evaluation committee will evaluate the cost proposals submitted by the proposers who obtain a score greater than or equal to 70 points in their qualifications and work approach. The evaluation committee may request clarification to proposers to assist in gaining additional understanding of the proposal. A response to a clarification request must be to clarify or explain portions of the already submitted proposal and may not contain new information not included in the original proposal. Proposals will be evaluated using a best value approach. Proposers will be awarded points based on their technical capabilities and work approach. A score to each evaluation criteria will be assigned by the evaluation committee. The evaluation committee shall conduct a comprehensive, fair, and impartial evaluation of proposals received in response to this RFP. SAM registration. The proposers and third-tier subcontractor must be registered in the System of Award Management, SAM, at the time of the proposal submission or initiate the registration process right after the proposal submission. For more information about the system of award management, go to www.sam.gov/SAM. I think that you can see that on the, you can see it in the presentation. There is no registration fee to create a renew or update your organization information on SAM. Awards will only be issued to entities that are cleared and not ineligible for award of a contract due to suspension, debarment, or HUD-imposed limited denial of participation. Now I leave you with Assistant Deputy Secretary for Disaster Recovery, Maria del Carmen Figueroa, who will be explaining about Section 3 business concerns and MWB business.
Thank you, Karen Lee. Let me share my presentation. Can you confirm you're seeing the presentation? Yes, all right. Let's start. Well, we will talk about now and discuss an overview of compliance roles and responsibilities, an overview of compliance areas and tools online, documenting efforts, training and reporting, and of course, we will discuss some FAQs. Federal civil rights and labor standards include Section 3 training, hiring, and contracting opportunities compliance, the minority and woman-owned business participation compliance, and fair housing and equal opportunity compliance. Roles and responsibilities for compliance are assigning staff who will attend to the day-to-day activities for civil rights compliance, attending trainings and workshops, using tools and templates provided by PRDOH, executing activities and documenting efforts as needed, participating in PRDOH-sponsored technical assistance, completing quarterly reporting, and compliant with reporting in general. You have bonus points. You can have bonus points by identifying yourself as a Section 3 business, right? So proposers seeking Section 3 bonus points should provide their self-certification and sufficient evidence for how they qualify as a Section 3 business. PRDOH offers a template on our website. Proposers seeking MBE or WBE bonus points should provide a copy of their MWBE certification to evidence their status. Certificates should show dates that indicate currently active. Procurement package language MWBE, there you have it. And the procurement package associated with Section 3. And the procurement package bonus points. The PRDOH shall provide a preference of no more than 5 points in the evaluation criteria of the method of rating for a greater participation of Section 3 businesses concerned or MWBE registered Puerto Rico business. The proposer seeking the Section 3 business preference or PR registered MWBE preference must be able to provide supporting documentation with the submission of this RFP for evaluation. You must use the PRDOH policy guides for additional information on the criteria for qualifying as a Section 3 business or register as a MWBE. Let's talk about Section 3. Section 3 is a federal requirement 24 CFR 75 from the Housing and Urban Development Act of 1968. We have a Section 3 policy published on our website. This is available in English and Spanish, and contractors must read and implement activities necessary to comply and oversee their subcontractors' compliance to assure overall compliance with the requirements. A Section 3 benchmarks. We have 100% of all workers, 25% of that 100 should be Section 3 workers, and 5% of that 25 should be target Section 3 workers. Section 3 business refers to a business concern meeting at least one of the following criteria documented within the last 6 months period. It is at least 51% owned and controlled by low or very low income persons. It is a business that at least 51% owned and controlled by current public housing residents or residents who currently live in a Section 8 assisted housing. And over 75 of the labor hours performed for the business over the prior 3 months period are performed by Section 3 workers. So you need to identify your workers for this last option. You need to identify your workers with a self-certification form in order to identify yourself as a Section 3 business, right? A Section 3 worker is any worker who currently fits or when hired within the past 5 years fits at least one of the following categories as documented. The worker income for the previous or annualized calendar year is below the income limit established by HUD. The worker is employed by a Section 3 business concern, or the worker is a youth bill participant. Target Section 3 worker is a worker for housing and community development financial assistance project is a Section 3 worker who is employed as a Section 3 business concern or currently fits or when hired fit at least one of the following categories as documented within the past 5 years, living within the service area or the neighborhood of the project as defined in 24 CFR 75 or a youth bill participant. And for those who are questioning the income limits, we have the 2020 income limits for a Section 3 worker and the 2021 income limits. We don't have yet the 2022 income limits, but you can use any of these charts to complete your Section 3 self-certification form. Section 3 forms that we have developed, there are the Section 3 plan for contractor or subrecipient in case you have to comply with that. Section 3 self-certification forms to help you identify if your workers are Section 3 persons, and therefore if you are a Section 3 business, right? And documentation of efforts form. We have the Section 3 self-certifications. You can click on that link and we will transport you to our website, and you can use that form to identify your workers. Let's talk about MWBE, minority and women-owned business concern. To ensure that when possible, contracts and other economic opportunities funded in whole or in part with federal fund housing and community development assistance are directed to minority business enterprise or woman business enterprise. That is 2 CFR 200. We also have policies for MWBE in our website available in Spanish and English. A minority business enterprise is defined as a business which is at least 51% owned, operated, and controlled on a daily basis by one or more American citizens of the following ethnic minority and or gender veteran, military veteran classifications: African American, Asian American, Hispanic American, Native American, Hasidic youth, persons with disabilities, and other individuals who can prove social and economic disadvantage. When we're talking about women business enterprise, we are talking about a business concern that is at least 51% owned and controlled by one or more women, must be a USA citizen or legal resident alien whose business formation and principal place of business are in the US or its territories, and whose management and daily operation is controlled by women. We have MWBE's goals as well. And these goals apply to professional services, purchasing supplies, and construction contracting. 10% for woman-owned business and 10% for minority-owned business, for a total of 20% minimum participation goal. Contractors are expected to perform good faith efforts for contracting, subcontracting, and purchasing opportunities in every contract that is more than 10,000. We have developed MWBE forms as well. We have the MWBE utilization plan, and we have the MWBE waiver form. Utilization plan compile data for MWBE subcontractors, plan ahead subcontracting needs, prepare user-owned creating supplier or contractor list for MWBE, provides awareness of meeting the goal for the contract and help with tracking utilization. If you click on the link, you will have a template for that MWBE plan. Also, the MWBE plan can be used throughout the life of your contract with PRDOH. Completing the MWBE utilization plan is pretty easy. It's a template. Read the general instruction in row 3, and you will complete section A, B, and F from the document. Complete the information requested in the yellow cells. This is how our website looks like with all the templates and tools, and where you can find those in English and Spanish. This is where you can certify yourself as a minority or woman-owned business. These are some of the agencies that are doing that in Puerto Rico. So you can go and certify yourself. You can present that with your RFP and benefit from the 5 bonus points. Let's talk about efforts and quarterly reporting. We have developed the documentation of efforts templates for contractors and recipients so they can register all the efforts that they're doing to be in compliance with Section 3 and MWBE as applied. And we have a quarterly reporting template as well. So all our contractors and recipients can be in compliance with these federal regulations. We have the quarterly reporting that gather information for Section 3, for MWBE, for FHEO, and in those cases that apply for Davis-Bacon. Our dates for quarterly reporting are April 5, just around the corner, July 5, October 5, and January 5. Now let's talk about some FAQs. Can a business be both Section 3 and MWBE? Yes, a business subcontractor can be both because those compliance areas are separate. Section 3 identifies the level of income to determine status, and MWBE uses race and gender information to qualify a business. If I am not planning on subcontracting, do I still need to complete documents? Yes, you should still submit your MWBE utilization plan, the documentation of efforts template, and the quarterly reports. If Section 3 doesn't apply to my contract, do I still have to complete the quarterly report? Yes, you will have to complete the MWBE report and the FHEO report areas. If I am either an MBE or WBE, do I fulfill the total goals? You may have safe harbor for one of the goals for MWBE participation of 10%, but you will still need have additional 10% goal to show good faith efforts for any subcontracting or purchasing you perform with the CDBG-DR omit funding. What happens if I don't fulfill the goals before the end of my contract? All awarded contractors should perform and document efforts. PRDOH has developed templates discussed in this presentation that help you complete this exercise. You can submit a waiver before the end of your contract for approval. This waiver request should be submitted with the efforts and justification as appropriate. So that's all for federal compliance. Please remember to direct all questions throughout the established protocols for this procurement. And thank you, the procurement team, for this opportunity.
Thank you, Maria del Carmen, and thank you all our procurement team. All interested people in participating in this RFP, remember to consider the important dates and access our documents in our, access all documents in our webpage. That will be all for this morning. Thank you for attending and have a good day.